What's up guys, in this video I'm comparing the flagship Pixel 6 Pro from Google with the mid-range Samsung Galaxy A52 5G. So yeah, we're comparing a $900 device in the Pixel with a sub $500, even in some cases $200 A52 5G if you get it on prepaid here in the US. But yes, these are very comparable devices, very good in their own right. Pixel 6 Pro is an overall bigger device. It also weighs more, 7.4 ounces versus the 6.67 ounces on the A52. Build quality, very different. Pixel 6 Pro has a glass front, glass back, aluminum frame. A52 is an all plastic design. Pixel 6 Pro has that eSIM built in, so that way it's very handy to have two phone numbers, two data plans, and you don't need a physical SIM. The A52 from Galaxy, from Samsung, doesn't have that. They both have dust and water resistance, but the Pixel 6 Pro has IP68, 1.5 meters for 30 minutes versus IP67 on the A52, so 1 meter for 30 minutes, so very comparable. Display, the Pixel 6 Pro has a AMOLED 120 Hz display versus the Super AMOLED 120 Hz display also on the A52 5G, so that's very, very nice. Having the same high refresh rate. It's not 60, it's not 90, it's 120 Hertz. You get a bigger screen on the Pixel 6 Pro, 6.7 inches, that's massive, versus the 6.5 inches on the A52. But you get more screen real estate, screen to body ratio 88% on the Pixel, 84% on the A52. Resolution is better in the Pixel 6 Pro, 1440 resolution versus the 1080p on the A52. PPI 500, north of 500 on the Pixel, north of 400 on the A52. But both of these have always on display, so that's very comparable as well. These devices are comparing very, very nice to each other. For the software, we have a big difference here. We have stock Android 12 on the Pixel 6 Pro, and we have Samsung UI on the top of Android 11 on the A52. Both of these will get updates in the future, but the Pixel 6 Pro will get 3 years of fast, speedy updates on day one with 5 years of security updates, while A52, it's still stuck on Android 11, it's a year behind, and it will not get updates right away, so that's a big difference. Pixel 6 Pro has a super powerful chipset in the Google Tensor chip, very powerful, best in class, versus the A52 has a mid-range Snapdragon 750G processor. So we have a powerhouse versus a average type processor. For the internal storage, very comparable again, 128 gigs on both of these, 12 gigs of RAM on the Pixel Pro, 6 gigs and 8 gigs depending which one you get on the A52. So way more RAM, way more future-proof. A lot of power users will appreciate that on the Pixel. But A52 has a micro SD card slot, so you could expand the storage. So that's a win for the A52 right there. Now to the cameras. You have two cameras on the Pixel 6 Pro, 50 megapixel main, 48 megapixel, I'm sorry, 3 cameras on the Pixel 6 Pro, 50 megapixel main camera, 48 megapixel telephoto, 12 megapixel ultra wide. You have 4 cameras on the A52. 64 megapixel main, 12 megapixel ultra wide, 5 megapixel macro, 5 megapixel depth, and they both shoot in 4K, so there's a similarity right there. But overall camera experience has to go to the Pixel 6 Pro. It's best in class, great in low light, great with pictures. It has just capabilities that are just superior in the Android world. The A52 has super great quality as well, except it's just not up to snuff to the Pixel 6 Pro. For the selfie camera, the Pixel 6 Pro is very impressive. 11 megapixel ultra wide, so that's a difference right there. You don't find that often in Android phones anymore. Ultra wide for the selfie. A52 has a 32 megapixel regular camera on the front, but both shoot in 4K, so that's impressive right there. Very comparable, although the Pixel 6 Pro stands out. You don't have a headphone jack in the Pixel, but you do get one on the A52. That's a win right there. And they both have stereo speakers, so they're gonna sound great. Bluetooth 5.2 on the Pixel, 5.0 on the A52. You have NFC on the Pixel 6 Pro, and you also get an A52, but it depends on your market. And they both have USB Type-C port for connection. As for unlocking and security, both have an under-the-display fingerprint reader, so very similar. These devices are getting very, very similar to each other, although they're at really different price points. And last but not least is the battery. Both have great batteries. Pixel 6 Pro has a massive 5000 milliamp battery versus the 4500 on the A52, but both of these are gonna get you all day battery life. Both have fast charging. We got 30 watts on the Pixel, 25 watts on the A52, but both will get you 50% charge in 30 minutes. And a bonus on the Pixel Pro, you get fast wireless charging and reverse wireless charging. So what are my thoughts on these devices after going through the specs? Well, it's obvious that the Pixel 6 Pro is a better overall device. It's great for users that want a great camera system and they like really big devices, and everything else about it is very, very awesome. But it's not to say that Galaxy A52 5G, you're getting almost a lot of the same features as the Pixel 6 Pro. There's nothing really bad about the A52 5G. It's just missing a couple of features here and there, but both of these phones have great battery lives. They both have fairly large screens. Camera system is actually pretty good on the A52 5G. They both have, the 4K camera setup. They both have the amazing 120 Hz display, the same storage capabilities. They both have some form of dust and water resistance. Build quality, yes, it's lacking on the A52, but that isn't gonna take away from the overall experience. Price-wise, yes, the A52, you could get it at a real good deal. The Pixel 6 Pro is just a little bit too expensive comparing it directly with the A52, but it's still overall, it's like the best phone that you could get with that stock Google software. So this phone's gonna be relevant for 3 years for sure, because it's getting those brand new updates straight from Google on day one. No other phone really can match that. The A52 is going to be slow with the updates, but if you're okay with that, the A52 is pretty much, for an average person, is going to be a better device. Especially if you can get it for like on the low for $200, or even at $500. This is not a bad device. For less than $500, brand new unlocked, it's not a bad device at all either. It has that the in-display fingerprint reader, which is commonly found on more expensive flagship devices. So yeah, value is going to be the A52. Overall better device, Pixel 6 Pro for sure, but it is fairly large at 6.7 inches, so be careful right there. Well guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.